Let's talk about my plans for the end of the year. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brie and this is For a Positive Book. Yes, I'm going to be doing part of the end of the year tag. This tag is supposed to be done like in October and I didn't have time for it. Didn't get it done in October. I wasn't reading a lot and so we're doing it now. There will be some questions that maybe don't quite work anymore just because we are so far into the end of the year. Like we literally have like what, 6 weeks left of the year? That feels insane. I feel like I was just making my 2025 goals and here we are at the end of the year. I will be doing a new goals video. I will probably react to my old one, at least, you know, kind of talk through what I thought about the goals, but that's not what we're doing today. Today we're going to talk about what my channel and what my reading is going to look like through the end of the year. I do have the questions pulled up from the end of the year tag. I will also link the original one down below, but I kind of just want to make this one chatty, very casual, just kind of talk you through my plans, where my brain is at. 2025 has been a weird year and I do want to end the year on a high note, and that means that we really need to buckle down. We need to get our butts in gear because that means that 2026 will also start off on a great note. So let's talk about reading. There are a couple of reading questions on here. The first one is, are there any books that you started this year that you still need to finish? And I am pretty good about like starting and finishing books. Like I don't have many that are ongoing with the exception of Dawn of Chaos and Fury by Melissa K. Rourke. I have had this book on my Kindle since the middle of September, okay? I got an arc of it, I immediately downloaded it, and I immediately started it, and I am about 25% of the way in, and I have been for about a month and a half now. Part of it was just because I wasn't reading a lot in September and October, and then I was just trying to like get back into the swing of things, and this didn't have a video attached to it, and I was trying to like finish other things for videos, and obviously those have to come first. This book comes out on Tuesday. As you're seeing this, I think it might be like tomorrow as you're seeing this video, and I still haven't finished the arc that I've had for 2 months, and I'm so sorry, Melissa. I'm so sorry. I really wanted to. I love this series. I love these books. I love these characters. So it's not a, like, I don't want to read it. It's just that it was an 800-page book. 800 and something page, I don't know. And I only had it on my Kindle because it was obviously like an e-arc, and it wasn't part of a video. And so I've been reading it slowly. I've been reading it at night in bed, but like then there's just been some nights I don't want to read, and so, or I've been reading other stuff for content because I have vlogs that are coming out. I have other videos that I need to put out, and so this one, it hasn't been the priority, and I need to finish it. The question on there about the like, do you have a book to transition you into the cooler weather? We are there. We are already at the cooler weather. Okay, the tree is up. It's cold. We haven't had snow yet, which I think might be, I don't know, I always forget when the first snow of the year ever happens, but I feel like it should be happening pretty soon. So that being said, like I really love reading fantasy and romantasy at the end of the year. I don't know if that is just how my brain has been programmed over the past couple of years because I have done the Goodreads Choice Awards for fantasy and then now 2 years of romantasy. And so maybe my brain is just programmed to start reading those books as it starts getting colder because that's what I was doing for content. So a couple on my radar that I do want to read. Arcana Academy I really wanted to get to. It was on my November TBR. I don't know that it's going to happen just because it didn't make the top 20 of the Goodreads Choice Awards. And then I'm also really excited about a couple of holiday romances. I'm currently reading Good Spirits by BK Borison, which I've loved her books in the past, and I'm like, you know, maybe about 30-40% of the way through this one, and I'm having a really good time with it. It's a cozy Christmas, you know, it's a cup of hot chocolate is what it is. So like it's a different vibe obviously than like the darker fantasy. Oh, Thief of Night by Holly Black is a like urban fantasy that I read Book of Night, I think it was like maybe January or February, the year that it came out, and so it would be kind of cool to read Thief of Night around the same time, but again, I don't know. This question I think was meant like if you're doing this tag in October, then the answer is obviously spooky season books. I want to read horror. I want to read, you know, the dark, ominous, the gothic style books. But we're past that now. And now we are into, I just want an epic fantasy book with my blanket and my dog and a cup of hot chocolate, and you know, that I just want to be cozy. Question number 3 is there a new release that you are still waiting for or you need to get to? Obviously we talked about Dawn of Chaos and Fury. I need to get to it, and I am waiting for it. Maybe once the audiobook comes out, I'll be able to. I don't know. I really want to at least read it by the end of the year. I want to have it finished by the end of the year. A, because I don't like carrying over books from one year to the next. I want to have like a clean slate on January 1st. So I do want to finish it for that. But the other thing is that it would be really cool to have read the entire series in one year, and Reign of Shadows and Endings will definitely end up on my best books of the year. I own so many copies of that book, and I'm not even mad about it. And so it would be cool like to hold up like the whole series as the placeholder in like my favorites of the year. So there's that. And then the other one like just came out, so it's not that I'm, you know, I will read it by the end of the year. Brimstone by Kelly Hart. This is the follow-up to Quicksilver, and I've heard phenomenal things about it. People that have finished it already are in shock, in awe, and also quite mad at the cliffhanger of an ending that we have to wait a year for. So not prepared for that, but Quicksilver was on my favorites of the year last year, so it would be cool to have Brimstone maybe potentially sneak onto that. The next question is, what are 3 books that you want to read before the end of the year? Here's the thing, I would love to be able to tell you like 3 books that are not part of content that I really want to read by the end of the year, and that's just not feasible at this point. Everything that I am going to be reading is going to be for a video of some sort because we are running out of time, and I have vlogs I want to work on. I have wrap-up videos that I want to get done, like, you know, my goals video that I talked about at the beginning of the year, all these like series I wanted to read and books I wanted to read, and like now we're at the end of that, and I need to recap that, but I haven't read all of the books for it. So let's talk about 3 that I'm just excited for that are on like content plans. On Wings of Blood by Briar Bolin is on the Goodreads Choice Award. I would love to be able to get to this one. This is one that kind of came out of nowhere this past year, and I've heard mixed things about it, but we'll see. Catabasis or Catabasis, I don't know how you say it, however you want to say it, by R.F. Kuang is a book that I do want to read by the end of the year. I've heard such mixed things about this book as well, especially from people that have liked her previous stuff, that they didn't love this one as much. But I'm still hopeful. And then I also saw Kayla read it a couple months ago and she really liked it. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe I side with her. I very rarely side with Kayla on specifically fantasy books, but there have been the occasional matchups. And so who knows, this one could work. This one could be the one that we just align perfectly with. And then going in a very different direction, because most of the stuff that I've talked about has been romantasy and fantasy focused, but there is a romance that I'm really excited about that has been sitting on my shelf for a couple months now. Bitter Burn by Sierra Simone. This is the 3rd book in the Lioness trilogy, so this one wraps up the story and the emotions that I've seen from people that have read this book, finished this book. Let's just say it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a great time. This one is not my favorite series from Sierra. I definitely prefer the new Camelot trilogy and the Priest series, but I do want to finish this book, especially because it is in the same universe as all of those other books, and this one I think connects a lot of dots, especially going forward to Devil next year. So I want to finish this book. And it's also for a list video. It's not a vlog, but it's a list video that I want to finish. You would think that I would change out my batteries before I start filming, but no, I always have this problem. The next question is there a book that you think can still shock you and jump up to the favorite of the year? It is going to be hard pressed to find a book to like top my best of the year, which is a phenomenal thing since I read it in January. But there are some that I think could potentially like make that top 10 list. We already talked about Brimstone. That one I think could sneak in. To be honest, I didn't have the greatest reading year in 2025. I had some standouts, some books I was obsessed with that I am like screaming from the rooftops. And I had a great like bookish adjacent year in terms of like my business and meeting authors and going to events and like really cementing myself in the bookish community and the author community. But as far as like finding books that I'm obsessed with, they have been few and far between. I am currently reading Our Vicious Oaths right now, and you'll see this in a vlog later because it is for the Goodreads Choice Awards, but I am obsessed with it and I'm like 70% of the way in, so like this could potentially, when we like, you know, finalize that list, this one could be on it. And then I don't know that I will be able to get to this one by the end of the year. I can't tell you that I will be able to, but I opened up my Illumicrate box today actually, and I kind of forgot that this was the selection. I remember reading the synopsis originally and being like, yeah, I don't want to skip my box. I'm gonna get it. And then promptly forgot. And so then I read the synopsis again, and again, obsessed. This is A Rather Vengeful Accord by Danielle Knight. This is a debut, and the buzzwords are buzzwording, okay? This feels like such a Brie book. It's a queer romantasy, male-male romantasy, at the elite college of St. Pendergast Gravers, raise the dead and turn corpses into unnatural abominations while spires battle undead horrors in grand arenas, thrilling crowds with divine spectacles. Like Academy, necromancers, trials, and it's gay. I'm just saying, it could. I don't know that I'll be able to get to it by the end of the year, just because, like, again, I'm reading so much right now for content that when we get to the end, I'm just like, I might need a break. But who knows? After we get through Goodreads, the mood reader in me just might spark an interest and just pick something up random. Who knows? And then the final question is kind of moving on towards 2026. And so this is where I kind of just want to chat. I want to talk about what my plans are. The actual question is, have you already started making reading plans for next year? So TBR's highly anticipated books, videos, etc. And I have and I haven't like officially made like finalized lists. I have started like making my list of like, you know, my 26 and 2026 and how I want to do that, because we're starting to get into like really big numbers, right? Last year fit really well on a bingo board and I was like, this is probably the last year I'm gonna do it. And then now I'm like, now I'm coming up with 26 things. I'm kind of thinking about like splitting them, but then like 26 doesn't really separate out very well, like other than like 13 and 13. So we might try to do like 13 from my shelf, 13 new releases. Maybe that's something we work on. I don't know. I'm also going to be doing a video where I'm going to be highlighting some self-published books that are coming out in 2025 that sound interesting to me. I put out a post on Threads and had a ton of people reply to it. So now I have to go through all of that and like kind of look at synopsis and see what I think like speaks to me. And I think it'll just be really fun to like highlight some books that don't get as much publicity or promotion or things like that because they're not traditionally published, and it's hard to self-publish your book and market it yourself. So I'm trying to do that, trying to help where I can. I think as far as numbers, this will be the first year in a very long time that I didn't surpass the year before's number. I won't even hit 200 books this year, which is like, that sounds like you're like, oh my god, 200, that's so many books. I'm not even gonna get close to it. Like I might hit 150, which again, to the average reader sounds like it is a lot, okay? I do this for a living. I read for a living. I work in the bookish space, and so I read a lot. I also like have a commute when I do have to go into the office, and so I listen to a lot of audiobooks. When I am working for authors, I'm making graphics and like working in Canva a lot, and so I have the opportunity to listen to audiobooks like literally all day long if I want to. And it's weird sometimes to like put that number out there in the universe, and then like I don't ever want someone to like compare themselves to what I do, because obviously like I don't know, I've read a lot of books ever since like, I think 2020, 2019, I think was maybe the first year that I hit 100 books, and it's just steadily gone up from there. And so yeah, it's like kind of weird that this is the first year that I haven't read as much as I did the previous year, but also I think last year was an ungodly amount of books. My mental health was not in a great place, and I used reading as a coping mechanism. And so this year we kind of balanced things out a little bit. I think I have more plans for like TikTok and for my business than I do for YouTube. YouTube has taken a little bit more of a backseat, and that's kind of like, it's not on purpose, but it's just kind of a nature of the beast. But I really love doing YouTube. I don't want to stop doing that. I love doing reading vlogs. I love doing sprints. I love doing readathons. The Amazing Readathon is definitely coming back, although it's going to be a little bit different this year, but I'm very excited about the direction that we're going. So don't worry about that. It is coming. But I think the biggest thing, and something that I'm going to talk about more in my goals video, is just like really reading what I want, but having some structure to it. I love doing vlogs where I don't know what I'm reading going into it. I think that kind of scratches a mood reader itch in me while still having this organization and a little bit of like structure. You know, we still keep the rails on essentially, because if I don't have any structure, I just don't read. If I'm like, oh, well, I don't have to read anything, so I'm not going to. Does that make sense? But if we gamify it, we make things a little bit more interesting, then I don't know, I have more fun doing that. So I want to do more of that this year. And I don't want to like limit myself in what I read and like, you know, set a TBR at the beginning of a week or a month or a vlog, just because I feel like when I start doing that, I then just don't read it, okay? Like, it's one of those things like when you were in school and you had required reading, and so then therefore you just didn't want to read that book. That was like the worst book in the world because you had to read it. I don't want to get into that. With books and publishing and social media and all this stuff becoming my job, I am wanting to make sure that YouTube and reading still stays fun, still stays like, you know, a creative endeavor, and it stays something that like I want to continue doing because I don't want to burn out. And so I think doing something like this is going to help me with that. So this wasn't really a question, but I do want to kind of talk about how the rest of the year is going to look on the channel. I am attempting to do Vlogmas or Bookmas or whatever we want to call it, where I will be doing a video every other day through Christmas. Some of them will be reading vlogs, some of them will be you know, more Christmas related, less book related, but then also we are going to be starting our end of year content. That is my favorite content of the year. I love watching it, I love making it, I love setting goals, I love talking about it. I like this portion of like December and January, my favorite time on YouTube. And so you'll see goals videos, you'll see 2026 releases that I'm excited about, you will see best books of the year, all of that stuff, all the normal end of year content that you would normally see in December. You're just gonna get it every other day, along with some vlogs. I have dedicated vlogs where I'm reading one book that I've actually kind of already started, don't worry about it. And then we'll obviously have the Goodreads vlog that is coming out. It'll come out like a little bit after the finalists are announced. So it's going to be a really fun time. So if you're not subscribed, you should do that. You should, you know, check it out. We have a fun time over here. And then the last week of the year, kind of like between Christmas and New Year's, for a few days, we are doing our final round of Scatagorathon for the year. I always like to end the year with a Patreon readathon because we get to like kind of connect as a community and really like end the year together as community, you know, as we're intended to. Patreon has become a favorite thing of mine for the past couple of years. We have really grown and just made a really fun, chill community, and I love the people that are in there. I love like just the atmosphere that we've created in the Discord and on sprints and things like that. And so I'm excited to end the year with a few days with, you know, everyone playing my old TBR game. I don't want to get into 2026 really. We'll talk about that in my goals video. I just want to end the year on a high note. So I've been yapping for a very long time, but let me know how the rest of the year is looking for you. Are you just ready like to get to be done with the year? Because part of me kind of feels that way. I kind of just want to get to next year. I always like, you know, I have all these things that I want to do, but I'm like, well, you know, we only have 6 weeks left. We'll just start that next year. And so part of me is like, you know, let's just move on. But then also I want to pause and reflect and really just appreciate the season that we are in right now. And so I hope this was a fun, chatty video for you. But let me know. Are you the type of person that wants to move on to next year, or are you relishing in the moments that we have now? If you're not feeling chatty, do the calendar emoji. If you want to stick around, I'm gonna put a couple of videos up here that YouTube thinks that you're going to like. They sound relevant. And if you're new here and you have not yet subscribed, there's a little button in the corner below that you can do so. If you'd like to hang out with me more, the links to my Instagram, my Threads, my TikTok, and my Patreon are linked down below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.